happy pre-full moon in Libra. I am so excited to be here with you today. It has already been something incredible today. Hi, my name is Africa. I'm so excited to be here with you. I am a coach, an oracle. I am here for spiritual entrepreneurs who want to go big in the world. Hello, Jinx. Hello, Yamil. It's so good to see both of you here today. We are here all about the full moon in Libra, and after the eclipse portal has now closed, right? And we've had a couple of planets decide to come back in forward motion. Oh, this Libra full moon is so much about an energetic reset. So much about an energetic reset. You know, Libra is all about planets, all about balance. It's all about balance and harmony and beauty. You know, I love that Libra really is that hostess with the mostest, diplomat. Joya, oh my goodness! It's good to see you. And that's one of the reasons I am loving this Libra full moon. How can we bring more of that into our lives? How can we bring in more joy, more balance, more of that diplomacy, while still maintaining our peace, while still maintaining justice? That's the beauty behind this Libra full moon. That's why I'm kind of really excited to see how this is going to realign. Yes, Jamil, you are Libra. That's why you're always you are like a true diplomat. Like, knowing you in real life IRL, you are a diplomat. You really try to bring people together so they can make common ground. And also, like a true Libra, and I really want to get this part forward because I think a lot of people don't realize this. Libras also, while they're trying for diplomacy, right, do not cross them because they value their peace, right? That's why they try for diplomacy. But if you want to get up and you want to act a fool, they're going to show you what happens when you act a fool. They're going to come right behind you and kick you in the behind because they don't play. They're as welcoming and as loving as they can be until you cross a line. And I want you to embody more of that Libra energy. Don't let people cross your lines. Don't let them cross your boundaries. Push you back. Shut you down. Right? Any of that kind of lingering stuff hanging out in your system, this is your moment during this Libra full moon to let it all go. So, am I talking about letting go of people? Maybe. Maybe. What I am definitely talking about is any place where you know that your energy is being hemmed in, dampened down. Let that go. Let that the F go. I'm trying to watch my language this time, people. So you're going to let all of that go because it's not good for you. It's not going to actually bring you peace. Letting people dampen your light, push back your energy, shut you down, builds up resentment. It is like poison in the system. Right? I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I'm just bringing it back up in front of you again. It is poison in your system. And that's why you don't have peace in your life. And I want you to be at peace because power and peace go together. I think I said this a couple of times. I don't know. I've said a couple of times this week, definitely out on social media, that power and peace come together. You can't have peace without power. You can't have power without peace. They come together. Okay? And Libra really embodies this in such a beautiful way. That's why I'm so excited about this full moon. Now, I did say that we're going to talk about how to realign your life. I did say we're going to talk about what's keeping you out of flow and how to shift it. And I did say we're going to do a pick a card. And of course, what I want you to do is to see where Libra shows up in your natal chart. If you don't know that, please reach out. We will figure it out together. It's actually very simple to figure out. But what I want to talk about right now is love. Right? Because I think we just had Venus in retrograde, which just came forward. And this love deck was really calling out to me as I was looking to figure out which decks do I want to bring forth right now. If you have questions or something's hitting you as I'm talking, please let me know in the comments. I cherish y'all's comments. All right. So let me see what's coming out here with love. Venus finally going forward for us. What's coming out here? A couple of things. Okay. So we've got Eternal Flame. Let's see, I'm making sure I can see this. Eternal Flame, I love it. It's a great one to start us off with, especially, like I said, with Venus coming back forward. And who's shocked by this? Not me. Spiritual growth. Right? So this flame of love that you're probably feeling is that flame of love around your own path. I think there's so many ways that we've been taught to be safe. And for some people, literally in your DNA, right? In your in your in your DNA, what you've inherited, right? Your inherited ancestors went through the burning times, right? And so there's that fear that we don't talk about our own spirituality, our own connection with the divine, lest we be burned at the stake as a witch. That we don't share our knowledge of herbs and how they can help us, and how we don't necessarily have to be plugged into the drug companies or Western medicine, that they're a supplement, but not the whole thing, right? We don't share that herbal knowledge that we have for fear of being burned as a witch, right? We fear being othered because the witch trials are really about othering more than anything else. Getting rid of the people they didn't feel really belonged in society, or that were in some way or another pushed against power, whether it was a church or the quote-unquote traditional doctors at the time who were, doing leech treatments, whatever, right? They weren't doing the best things. That the old medicine was actually better. It got, they got better over time, but still. And they're finally coming back to the way things were, if you haven't noticed. So I really want to encourage you, whatever your spiritual path is, follow it. That spiritual path, that is your eternal flame. That is your first love. That is your true love. Right? Don't let people take that away from you. Yeah, falling in love with a blissful creation like a business. Yes! Because I think a lot of people, as things are coming around, right? We're pretty much firmly in the age of Aquarius now. So as things are coming around, there's going to be a more toward people working for themselves than working for other people. And this is good and bad. So I'm just going to put it out there. It is good and bad. It is, I'm just going to say it's bad first, so everything's relative. Because of how society is currently set up. Sometimes it can be very difficult to do things for yourself and you're self-employed, right? If you're not consistently bringing in funds, there is no sick days. There is no medical insurance, right? All of those things are tied to employment, right? And like a W-2, at least here in the States. For my European friends, It is a different story. But there is a sick time. There is a vacation. It is 24/7 you are on in order to make things work, because sometimes if you don't have your marketing down right, if you just pull a little bit off the gas so that you can go on vacation, so you can have downtime if you're ill, but that also means you're out of money. Or not maybe immediately, but maybe there's some downstream effects, right, to regain momentum. So yes, are there some ways that we can move around that? Of course there is. I got off on a tangent, folks. Of course there is. But right now we're gonna come back over here because I got off on a tangent again. And I want to get back on to what we need to be discussing, because I want. Let me listen here for a second. I really want you guys to know there's so much more than meets the eye. There's so much more, and I know I'm probably preaching to the choir. And when we break out of those bounds, which we are currently doing, and the world in some ways is falling apart, but it's falling apart to come back together again, right? There's no way around it. It has to somewhat kind of get janky and crazy for a while so it can be reorganized. Kind of like if you really want to redo a room. Like, I can't wait till we actually purchase this house so I can move stuff out of here, right? Paint, refresh, do it the way that I want to do it. Bring in the furniture that I want to bring in. But that in-between state, it's going to be a hot mess. It's going to be even worse when I'm ready to remodel the kitchen. That's really going to be horrific. That's probably like a month or two of not knowing where to cook or bringing the stove in here. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Probably really the air fryer because the stove's gas. But do you get my point? It's going to get disruptive. It's going to be uncomfortable. But then, as things get put back together, it gets comfortable again. It's even better than it was. So, as a planet, as a people, we're going through a collective uncomfortableness, a collective falling apart, knowing it's coming back together. And during this time, I don't know about you, but I plan to be as comfortable as possible. I've talked to a lot of different people, and I remind them we make our own economy. We make our own economy. That is especially true when you work for yourself. You make your own economy. So, I don't know if I got everything out I need to get out, but I think I did. Nope, it's not this one. It's this one. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and listening, doing the first pick a card. We might have more than one. That's what I'm hearing. So, if we don't, but right now I'm hearing we're going to have more than one. So get ready for the first pick a card. We're going to do I think I got 3 cards here. Let me double check. Yes, 3. So pick a number between 1 and 3. Right? Pick a number between 1 and 3. And this is really about how to get back into flow is what I'm hearing. How to shift yourself. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling a little bit spun out, right? What I'm pulling from is the Witchling deck. So if you want to put your number between 1 and 3 down in the chat. And I'm going to get started. Okay, card number 1. I love card number 1. I'm like looking at it and it's just making me smile. Remember, I said this is about shifting if you're feeling out of flow. And your card is luck. Can Can you see that? Card number 1 is luck. I'm loving it. So it says, with a clear direction for what you want to achieve, you're summoning energies that bring good luck. AKA, the universe is conspiring to help you get what you want. It's not a bad one. So if you chose card number 1, I love it. Luck. So how are you shifting? Get clear on what you want. Get clear on what you want and let the universe conspire on your behalf. Now, if there isn't a better way to bring in peace, I literally don't know what it is. I literally don't know what it is. Okay, card number 2. Cleansing. Cleansing. And I should say something really quickly before I even go more into this card. Every card is for you, even if you picked a specific card. It's just the card you picked is probably going to lean more with you. But take what you can out of each card, right? And, no, we won't go to the end. Cleansing. Card number 2, cleansing. Every cleansing creates a healthy and harmonious space in which to thrive. Every cleansing creates a healthy and harmonious space in which to thrive. Love it. So how do you shift? Clean up. Clear out. Take care of those loose ends I was talking about earlier. Right? Whether they be digital, whether they be hopes and dreams, loves, physical space. This is that time for like that spring cleaning we always talk about, right? Cleansing. Maybe it's a cleansing of your own body. I'm just putting this out, food for thought. One of the ways we cleanse, of course, is drinking water, eating healthy foods, but also by going out there and exercising and sweating. And boy, did I sweat this morning. I walked 1.5 miles. And I was like drenched by the time I came home. And some of you were like, really? Yeah, really. The humidity is something else here. So, it is something else. But that cleansing effect of just getting toxins out of you through sweat is good. So whatever ways you can think of to cleanse, this is your moment to do it. This is how you're going to shift into your flow, right? And just because you're cleansing on one space and you think, but I really need to find a way to flow over here, cleansing over here, right, could mean flow over here. We are different facets of our lives and our beingness are not silos. It's interconnected. So it might be cleansing your digital space, bring something new into your physical space, and vice versa. All right? So don't forget that. All right, Joya said I had a major water leak. Oh no! Oh no, that's, a major water leak in the home, ceiling, walls, floors demolished. Oh my gosh, you are doing a massive cleansing. I am so sorry. Yes, in every way, that is wild. Wild. I'm so sorry to hear that. You might need to look into that. Okay. Card number 3. And I know you really had 2. Joya and Jinx, you had 3. 3 is energy. Energy. And I love this. It says, with limitless energy, you'll achieve more than you ever dreamed possible. With limitless energy, you'll achieve more than you ever dreamed possible. So broaden your horizons. Broaden your horizons. What I'm hearing is I know it's set with limitless energy, and you might think, but I have a finite amount of energy, please and thank you. You don't. What's going on is the dreams sometimes, and for some of you, are just way too small. You're dreaming too small. Dream bigger. Dream a heck of a lot bigger. Ooh, listen to me guarding my language. Dream a heck of a lot bigger. Right? Sometimes we can't help but to think too small. Again, going back to what I said earlier, we were taught to minimize. And so right now we're kind of busting through all those limitations, all of those boundaries. Dream bigger. And watch the energy flow in. That thing you thought, I don't know if that can happen. I don't know if I could do that. I think that's too much, and who am I to think about that even? And so you kind of shoved it aside. Pull that thing back on out and let the energy flow in. Okay? Pull it back out, let the energy flow in. This is really amazing. I want to check to see if anyone had any questions about their cards, anything they want clarified. I do have some cards specifically here for clarification. I think I can finally get into these. So let me know if you have any clarifying that you would like done, or if you have any other questions. Joy, I will not presume you want me to look into your major water leak, though you know I'm happy to do so. But I'm not going to assume you want me to. All right, let me keep going. And I'll be on the lookout for your questions and clarifications, and if you want me to specifically pull a card for you, of course. All right, what else do we need to know about this Libra season? What else do we specifically need to know about this Libra season? What are we being, what are we being called to realign? I think some of you already understand what you need to realign with the last card. Is there anything we're looking at? Collective. This specific collective, watching live or watching the replay. Okay, a couple cards there. Okay, so I got, for this collective, law of grace. Be your divine essence. Dissolve all in grace. Right? Going back to your divinity. Being graceful, just like Libra. Right? But remember, Libra has boundaries. They don't allow people to treat them like a doormat. Okay? And then I love this. This is card 41, y'all. And this is card 14. Okay? Stand in your power. Be passionate about your vision. Bring about positive change. All right? So lead with grace, love, charity, all right? But also stand firm for who you are and look to be that change. Right? And then card number 36. Be a beacon. Sometimes you can't make this up. Be a beacon. Right? Be a light for others. Be an inspiration and light the way for others. Right? So those are the three cards that are coming out for us as a collective. To just go out there with that beautiful, diplomatic, graceful Libra energy. To bring peace and bring people together. But also remembering that we always come standing in our power. A diplomat has to be in their power as they're trying to negotiate peace. And we're always looking for the best situation for all of us, right? And by standing in our power, we are that light for others to see, for other people to say, oh, I don't have to play by the old rules anymore. I get to stand in my power too. All right, so let me see what's. I know there's been some chatter here. Let's see. Jinx asks, "How do I know it's the right project to pull out again?" I think I understand what's going there. How do you know you're in a project now? You want to know, should you let the project go? I think it's what's being asked, right? You want to know if you should let that project go, or if it's the right project at all. I don't think there's a wrong project. I think there's projects that have different timing for what your energy can hold right now. That's what I'm hearing, but I'm going to pull on it still. That's what I'm hearing. Okay. Yeah. Jinx, let's see what we got for you here. We put these cards over here aside. Let's see if it's the right time for this project. I don't know what the project is, but is it the right time for the project? I pulled the Justice card. And if you know anything about Tarot, Justice is associated with what? Libra. It's associated with Libra. So that's why I giggled. So my first question is really the word that's written on this card. Is this project your truth? Is this project your truth? If it's your truth, there's nothing that can hold you back from getting this done. But if it's not your truth, then you can take it or leave it. Right? You're not in stream for it right now. So is the project you're thinking of, is it your truth? Because that's what I'm hearing. Whatever you do, it has to be your truth. Your truth can look different ways. So I'm trying to think of a good example. I've used this so many times, but I'm going to use it again because it's a good example. There are many things that I can do with my life. There are many, many things, right? I like to think of myself as a Renaissance person, right? I'm pretty good at a lot of things. But that doesn't make all those things my truth. So, and there's some things that I'm really terrible at. And that's probably not my truth either. So the thing I'm terrible at, woodworking, I love it. I've hurt myself so many times doing it. I mess up so much. Will I keep doing it? Yes. Because I'm getting better. Right? Is it my truth? No, it is definitely a hobby. Right? When I think about something like I was in the finance industry, I did residential and commercial loans. I was very, very good at it. Very good at it. That's because I'm good at it. Did that make it my truth? No. No, it didn't. I was very, very good at it, and it frustrated me to no end. It was very, very stressful. I know people who do it, they don't find it stressful at all. So I'm not saying that it is just innately stressful. Some people find it stressful. Some people don't. I find it super stressful. And I would get very upset a lot of times. I took a lot of things personally. It just, I guess it pushed a lot of my buttons being in that industry. Though, what I'm doing now, coaching, consulting, sharing my gifts as an oracle and a healer, that's my truth. That just lights me up. It's like never-ending energy. Remember earlier we talked about energy. Now, I'm not saying I don't run into people who drain my energy. That would be a lie. I do, right? But for the most part, it is something that gives me so much energy and so much joy and so much incredible satisfaction. Why? Because it is my truth. Right? It's my truth. And so I know, Jinx, you asked about this, but whenever you're trying to make a choice, we can make a choice that is your truth. It is the best choice to make. Always choose you. Always choose your truth. Right? So, Jinx, I hope that was helpful. Let me know if that was helpful for you. All right. And then, let's see. Oh, Julia, you think your water leak is you leaking energy in other areas? It very well could be. Like, I think kind of a spot-on interpretation. Because there's a lot, for all of us, not just Julia in particular, but all of us, there's a lot going on. Oh, Jinx, I'm glad that was helpful. There's a lot going on. And so we are prone to having energy leaks. And I feel like this is a moment for me to get partially, as I'm shuffling for Joya, on the timing of an out-of-state move. All right, so I'm shuffling on that. But I want to say, part of this time that we have with the full moon in Libra, in a way we could beautifully realign our lives. And so, Joya, thank you so much for bringing this up. It's to close our energetic loops. If there is a loop to be closed, right, that where you are leaking energy physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, close the loop. Close the loop. Right? That's part of just releasing things that we don't need to hold on to anymore. And sometimes I tell people, you know, they say, I want to work with you, but maybe now's not the time. And maybe, well, can we, sometimes I tell them, I just get this vibe and I go, you know what? Let's go ahead and close the loop. Now isn't the time. Get back with me when you're ready. I'm not going to keep open that energetic loop of, will they work with me? Will they not work with me? Do I need to check in with them? Blah, 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 blah. I don't have that kind of extra energy to expend. My energy is precious. Your energy is precious. You don't have extra to let just go by the wayside willy-nilly. Right? All right. So close all the energetic loops you can. Friend that did you wrong, close that energetic loop. Or it's that one video I used to love to watch. Thunder, fire, your flaky friends. I don't think they said flaky. But anyway, it was always one that cracked me up. All right. So let's see here. About the timing out-of-state move. All right. I got the moon reversed. The moon reversed. Misinterpretation. All right. So, Joya, I'm going to ask you a question. Is there anything about the place you're going or the timing that could have been misinterpreted? Because what I'm getting is you're going to know soon, within the next cycle of the moon, really. Like, I'm going to say by this time, the next full moon, you're going to know your timing. But and it might not be the timing that you're thinking, is what I'm trying to say. So it's either the timing or the place you're going to know about by the time this next full moon comes. But it's just going to, like, things are, it's almost like, when I'm looking at this. either going to be moved or things are just going to be or going to shake out in such a way you're like, oh, this is what I need to do. Because I'm thinking your plans are already pretty set. So that's why for me I'm confused looking at this. But there's like, I feel like there's something still shaking out. There's something still that needs to be interpreted. But you'll know by the next full moon. So in that way, that's good. Whatever it is, it's going to be sorted. So I hope that that was helpful. Let me see. Is there any other questions? Any other questions? Because I said earlier, we're kind of running into the unknown in some ways, and the known in another way. Like the unknown in that we don't really know the path between where we are and where we're going. It sounds odd. So I think for most people, they see that things are going to come back together, that with the Aquarian age, it's just this whole different world that we're going to be living in. And it's utopian in some ways and not in others, you know, like any other age. But probably more utopian than not, especially from our viewpoint. But seeing that and being where we are now, it's kind of walking in the blind as to how do we get there. Right? How much do things need to fall apart? So, and what else needs to be released? Right? What else needs to be released? So let me know. Do you have any other questions? I'm pulling just for any other things. I'm pulling from this deck called Tarot of the Unknown, because this just felt like an unknown but unknown time, much like the series this deck is based around. It's a known but an unknown. Okay. Get 3 cards here. Might be left a more unknown. I don't know. All right, we start off here with the 6 of axes. The 6 of axes, or you know, swords. And I love this depiction of just rowing away from whatever was, and not having much. Right, rowing away from whatever was and not having much. You're just leaving your like. I don't know, something about this could be interpreted as sad, but when you're leaving behind something that wasn't that great to begin with, it's okay to mourn what you knew. But know you're rowing towards something better. All right. And then along that path, right, we've got the 4 of Wands reversed. Right? Usually this is about celebration and family and weddings and that kind of thing. And no, things are still falling apart. Right? So if we think of this as past, present, things are still falling apart. Even though we're rowing away from something, that still means something had to break apart for us to be going away from it. And we're still in the midst of it breaking apart. So these are things we know. So if we think of this as our future card, it is the King of Wands reversed. I love that this is a frog. I know all the characters in this series are frogs. I'm trying to remember in the series what the frogs were about, but don't necessarily remember. So the King of Wands reversed. So what does that future hold? What is this King of Wands reversed? There's going to be a slowing down. Now, wands are about a ton of energy going out, right? Big, wild, bodacious ideas, right? tons of energy. But this is about channeling that energy in, so to speak, slowing down, being more rooted in our own circadian rhythms, right? Understanding and moving with the cycle of the moon and the sun, slowing down. Let's see, Joya had something. Massive cleansing from Native Americans, frogs being about massive cleansing. That certainly is happening. And that, to me, even with the massive cleansing, that only happens when we slow down. Because if we cleanse, and this is going back, I think card 2 is cleansing, right? Card 2 is cleansing. When we slow down, we are releasing the things that really need to be released and not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Because this isn't the energy of just that frenetic energy and we're just done, right? And to heck with the consequences. This is a deliberate slowing down and being comfortable in the quiet, being comfortable with the noise in our own heads because we know it's not someone else's chatter. Of course, Heavenly, you can have a reading. I will pull for you. I offered to pull a card for everyone. I will pull a card for you too. Let me get over here. Any other questions? I'm excited about getting to where things are a little quieter. My head's playing out so many different scenarios of this quieter time. Some of which I hope are not the way it's going to be. But it just shows me, like what I'm seeing right now. Okay. I didn't even get to shuffle, Heavenly. So I'm going to bring this card up for you in a second. That kind of popped out of the deck. I'm seeing multiple scenarios, which means that we aren't there. We aren't fixed into one timeline. And quite honestly, we never are. But there's so many ways this can play out depending on how we move as a collective, right? Independently, we'll all be on our own timelines. But I like to think of it as this collective trunk. And I say trunk because this shows the techie, geeky side of me, right? When we think of a T1 line coming in, it has all these fiber optics. It's encased in what's called a trunk. And each of those little bitty fiber optics are each of our different timelines, right? But then there's this whole trunk where it's a collective timeline, right? So, yes, depending on how we move as collective depends on where this trunk goes, right? But as I said at the beginning, we make our own economies because we are on different timelines. We are living multiple timelines at the same time. I don't have time to get into all that right now. But that's why it's so easy for us to jump timelines, because we're already living multiple timelines at the same time. Everything that has happened, that will happen, is all happening right now. Okay? It's all happening now. And so as a collective, that's why there's always multiple ways to go. That's why I'm seeing different possibilities, but with the same kind of vibe of slowing down. All right, Heavenly, thank you for waiting. The card that jumped out, I don't know what you wanted a reading about, but the card that jumped out was the 9 of Pentacles, upright, which is comfort, right? Having what you need, having pretty much what you want. Because comfort usually is just above what's needed, over into what's wanted. So I hope that that's helpful for you. And then Yamil, of course, I'm happy to pull a card for you. Let me do that. Heavenly, let me know if you haven't, if you need any more information on that. Mill, I'm happy to pull for you here. Ooh. I had a card that was hanging out. I had Joya's card hanging out over here on the side. Got to stick that back in here. It may want to make a reappearance. All right, Emil, pulling for you. Joya's card did not want to make a reappearance. Emil, you got the Hermit, which is solitude. Solitude. I love, like, Hermit was, it used to be one of my favorite cards. It's not that, like, I hate the card. It's just there's a different version of it I just truly adore. I have a different deck. I actually hadn't seen it in this deck before. So what I love about the Hermit is that higher consciousness, higher access, higher learning that happens when you go into the cave and you go into yourself and you get good with you. And then if the Hermit happened to be reversed, that's you moving out of the cave, right? But it's you in the cave. It's you taking the information and learning even more. But again, this is what I'm hearing. It's good to learn a lot. And I like learning a lot too. But don't get so consumed in learning that you never get to doing. You never get to being. You never get to sharing. And that's one of the downsides of the Hermit. So I'm going to, that is what I had to say there. Okay. Let me know if that worked out for you, Yamil. Let's see. Heavenly says, okay, thank you. That's fine. Awesome. All right, guys. I'm going to pull one last card for us. I'm just trying to look and see which deck it's going to come out of. I think we're going to start as we ended. I mean, we're going to end with what we started, which is with love. And this is the Universal Love deck. Universal Love deck. Because if there's one thing I know, it's we all could use more love. And we got... And why not? Because love gives us abundance. I love it. Abundance. So I want you to go out there and not only know that we live in a universe of abundance. There's an abundance of everything that we need. But also go out there and share your abundance, share your light, share your gifts. Because that's how you show that you're in abundance and not in scarcity. All right, if you have not already, go watch my Soft Fire series. It is going to be 6 episodes. I'm on episode 2. It just dropped this morning. So go back, watch episode 1 and 2. I think you're really going to enjoy it. It talks all about leadership. And I also dropped today the companion kit, which you can get for free. The link is in the comments of the soft, in the comments. Yeah, I think it's in, or it's in the description if it's not in the comments. The Soft Fire series. You're really going to enjoy the companion kit because I want all of us to really lead, right? This isn't just about, oh, I'm going to go out and be a business leader, or I'm going to go out and be a guru. This is, yes, about those things, but also about self-leadership. So go watch the series. It's going to help bring together so much of what we talked about today. And I am so grateful you took your time out of the day to spend it with me now. I will be live again next week too. So between now and then, I think I'm live again next week, either next week or week after next. Subscribe to the channel anyway and turn on the bell notifications, and you always will know when I go live. as well as when the rest of the Soft Fire series drops. All right. With that, I say peace, joy, love to you. Have a wonderful weekend.